Hello, my name is John Henry Clay. For this project's topic, I chose a topic of global ethics of vaccine distribution and how vaccines are unequally distributed to all the peoples of this world when vaccines are first being distributed across the globe. I will be exploring this topic through a utilitarian view and cross-cultural perspective and be going over three major dilemmas I came across when looking into the global ethics of vaccine distribution. There are many different issues that come with this topic, but these three were the ones that stuck out to me the most because they explore the problems with the perspective of powerful countries and some less developed countries. I will explore the possible options for each dilemma and how we could possibly solve them in the coming future. The first dilemma I came across while looking into the global ethics of vaccine distribution is, do the countries that create the vaccines distribute it to their own citizens first, or distribute it equally among the peoples of the world? Now, most people across the world would definitely say a country creates it should distribute it equally across the planet and not just the country who created it. I would tend to agree with that, except for a little part of me thinks that we should take care of our own people first before worrying about everyone else. From a utilitarian view, it is morally correct to distribute the vaccine equally because it benefits the greatest number of people. Most people would agree with that, but some larger countries might differ. The second dilemma I came across while researching this topic was, should governments and pharmaceutical companies charge money to receive a dose of the vaccine? The biggest problem I noticed was that, at least here in the States, we are driven by a very capitalistic market. When COVID first started, the United States government incentivized pharmaceutical companies to stop what they were doing and dump all their time, resources, and money in developing a vaccine for COVID-19. When they finally did create one in record-breaking time, they are allowed to charge money for a vaccine to recoup the billions of dollars they put into it and to make a profit. Now, this is really only a problem here in the States because we do not have universal health care like many other countries do. Now, looking at this from a utilitarian view, the companies invested billions of their dollars of their own money into creating a vaccine and doing it in record time, and need to charge money for it to create a profit for themselves and to pay their employees, because that is the best outcome for the companies who use their own money to create a vaccine in record time. Now, the third and final dilemma I came across was, what obligations, if any, do we have to other countries in getting them vaccines, and how do we properly distribute them in underdeveloped countries that lack true infrastructure? The first big problem is, how can we ensure the citizens are receiving the vaccines and not the often corrupt governments withholding them from the citizens? Are we responsible for not only creating the vaccines and giving them to the countries, but we also have to deliver them to the citizens? To me, that's where I think the line has to be drawn. In some ways, it is our responsibility to help our neighbors, but we can't do everything for them, including delivering the vaccines to the citizens. The utilitarian view would help the other countries to a certain degree, but we have to keep the main focus on us, the United States, and bringing back in the money to the companies who spent billions of their own money creating the vaccine because of our capitalistic market. Now, the final thing I wanted to explore on this topic is the cross-cultural responses from many different countries and how they responded to the global ethics of vaccine distribution. When the first COVID-19 vaccines were first becoming available, the wealthiest and most developed countries like the United States, Canada, and UK all purchased the most vaccines, even though they only take up 14% of the world's population. This first stat right here shows how uneven the vaccine distribution really was when COVID-19 first came about. Countries are willing to purchase half the world's supply of vaccines just for their own citizens. A study done by the British Medical Journal said 70% of the world's populations would need to be vaccinated to bring COVID-19 to a halt. So more often than not, the utilitarian view is the one adopted particularly in capitalistic economies like our own here in the United States. The United States has delivered millions of doses throughout the world. Now, if that is not enough, that depends on the perspective, culture, and economies from different countries from around the world. And my last slide is just some of the sources I used for this project. Thank you for listening.